Hello, everybody. I'm Vandana Hiranandani. I'm a codependent counselor, family therapist, and trauma healer. I'm mainly a codependent counselor where I take care of the spouses, the family, the friends of people who are afflicted and dependent on drugs or alcohol and even psychotropic medication. My journey is inspired by the experiences of my life, and today I've been able to touch many lives, and I want to keep doing this as much as I can and help people come out of the problems, the black holes, the pathos of sadness, of being living with a person who's been dependent on substances. Life has taught me many lessons. In that, I've also learned to understand energy fields. So today, I have Akriti Bhartiya with me, who's an emotional healing coach, and we will combine the understanding of addiction and how does the field of energy can help a person come out of it. Once you go to a particular center or a rehab, or you meet therapists and counselors, but even after that, we need a lot to be done for a person to come back to his space and lead a regular life. Where she can come into play and guide us to heal ourselves further and further. So over to you, Akriti.
Thank you, Vandana. Thank you for this lovely opportunity. I would like to introduce myself. I am Akriti Bhartiya, an emotional healing coach working at the intersection of the mind, body, and the energetic field of a person. My work primarily focuses on identifying and releasing subconscious blocks, emotional conditioning, inherited patterns, limited beliefs, which shape a person's reality. We are not stuck because of our circumstances, but we are stuck because of the unconscious programming running beneath us. And that's where my work comes into place, where we work on the inner world of a person, which helps us to shift the external reality.
Lovely. So, Akriti, we built up some questions for you. Okay.
Yes.
I would like to present it to you, and we can converse, understand where it takes us, so that this podcast can help people beyond our reach also. These are the mediums which can take our answers, our awareness to the whole world. So, let's enjoy doing this.
Yes, let's begin.
Yes.
Yes.
To understand, see, I know what is addiction. I have seen it from my childhood and later in my adult life too. But in your understanding, what do you know about addiction? And according to you, is it just a habit or something deeper?
So, according to me, addiction is not only about the substance, it's actually a coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
What it does is it becomes a emotional escape route for people who are into addiction,
Mm-hmm.
which they are basically escaping from the either it is a stress or it is some deep unprocessed trauma, some emotional baggage they are carrying.
Mm-hmm.
Energetically, it starts showing as a disconnect from their own self. They want to move away from reality. They need what we call like a shift, like a break. They want to numb themselves. So that's where addiction is there. Also, people are not addicted to the substance,
Mm.
they are addicted to the feeling the substance gives them,
Okay.
because their body and the energy and the being, it stores all the unprocessed trauma and emotions, and much it goes much deeper in that. So that's how I see addiction, as it's more of filling a void. And once we start working on the layers beneath, that's where the real transformation happens.
Well, thank you. That's a perfect answer. I don't need to add anything of my expertise in it, and she has shared, which almost covers what I needed to know from her. Next one, Akriti, it is why do people, according to you, relapse even when they want to quit?
So, this is a very interesting question. So, I'll tell you one of the main things which people feel, especially for people who are addicted, the family feels, that if they wanted to quit, they can. And and they feel that it depends on a person's willpower.
Hmm.
But actually, addiction is not related to willpower.
Yes.
It is not related to discipline or desire.
Hmm.
Actually, what happens is the person who is addicted gets stuck because consciously the person wants to come out of it, but
Hmm.
subconsciously something keeps pulling them back. And what is that something is, again, the stored trauma, the unprocessed emotions, all those things are so embedded with them so deeply inside that subconsciously it keeps pulling them back. Also, what happens is they get stuck in something called a guilt trap cycle.
Okay, what is
So,
that?
so I'll
Mm.
explain you. So, what happens is a person will resort to a substance to get away from something. Temporarily, they'll feel a relief. Now, what has happened? Temporarily, they feel a relief, but then they feel guilty about it. Oh, why did I do it again? That gets them loop into a thinking cycle, into a thinking pattern that, okay, I did it again. I can't take care of myself. That creates an emotional heaviness on them. With that emotional heaviness, since they can't deal with that emotional heaviness, they again go back and resort to the substance. So then they're again stuck in the whole cycle of a guilt trap. And that becomes even worse for them. So when they're addicted, first they're addicted to the substance, then they get addicted to the emotional heaviness which the substance is also bringing with them.
Amazing. My team at Anatta is going to be very happy to hear your answers because even though we've not discussed before, your answers are matching to our own goals, our own motives and theories, where we wish to help people not by pushing them to understand things, but over a period of time to figure it out. Willpower has got nothing to do to start with and to end with. So thanks for
Absolutely,
that
yes.
answer again.
Yeah.
I go to the next one. So now coming to your work. How does energetic work actually help with addiction? Have you dealt with people who've come directly to you and have not been to another center and come straight on to you that I am dealing with this substance?
Yes, absolutely. So energy work really helps with addiction because actually energies work where the logical mindset don't work.
Hmm.
And what happens is the behavior of the person, right, the resorting to the addiction, the behavior is the topmost layer which becomes like the symptom. What energy work does, it goes deep within towards the roots of why the addiction is happening, and we start resolving it from there. So I'll give you an
16 year,
example
yeah.
that I worked with a 16-year-old girl. She
Mm-hmm.
started resorting to substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, the family thought that it's peer pressure. You know how young kids, teenage kids, they wanna feel cool about consuming these
And
things,
also for parents, it's easy to blame the peers,
to
the
blame the
friends,
peers and
because they
all.
feel
Yeah,
their child will not be attempting these
yeah.
things on their own.
Absolutely. So it started with that, but progressively it started increasing. The use of the substance became a lot, and that's where the parents contacted. When we dug deeper into this, there were multiple layers of it. So why the girl had started resorting was because she was feeling very disconnected from herself, and more than that she felt that she's not been able to fit in.
Okay.
So she actually started consuming the substance because she wanted to fit in,
To look
to
cool with
look
the,
cool.
yeah.
She realized that she felt that no one in the house understands her.
Mm-hmm.
She felt emotionally she had started suppressing her emotions at home,
Mm-hmm.
where the family environment was good, but
Mm-hmm.
but this world had internally got created within that girl on her own. It was not related to her house environment, but internally she just formed these beliefs and programming about it. She thought she has to manage everything on her own emotions, which started resorting to all these things. Emotionally, it became so unbearable. It made her develop fears of rejections and judgments.
Mm-hmm.
So that became very deeply embedded in her.
Okay.
Then again, when we dug deeper into it, we actually energetically realized that all these fears of rejections and judgment and the emotional trauma which she has got in her is not only because of her own thing. It was all related to her body image. So when we dug deeper into it,
Mm.
we realized that it is not only the fear of judgments and rejections, it was all her own thinking about her own body image.
Mm.
It was about she inherited patterns. So we can even
Okay.
energetically we can even inherit patterns from our parents.
Okay.
She inherited patterns of not feeling understood from the mother,
Mm-hmm.
and so all these things. So when we worked energetically, we released the fears, we broke the patterns, we cut those, released those energetic cords which were keeping her entangled.
Mm.
We worked on her inner child, and that's how her dependency on the substance reduced, because the reason why she was consuming the substance was no longer there.
So ideally, how firstly did the girl come in voluntary, like willingly to you, voluntarily, and ideally, how long does it take for you to enter these layers, these spaces, to understand whether there is inheritance, whether body image? How long does it take
So the girl was not voluntarily coming. It was, of course, it was, the idea was suggested by the parents.
Mhm.
But once the first meeting was a little, to be very honest, was a little, the girl was very hesitant because she's a young girl. She didn't know about this field. She said, now why should I come here and do
Mm.
all these
Mm.
things? But slowly, as we started speaking, made her comfortable, she became comfortable in the series of sessions. Also, typically for anyone, all this depends on the rate of recovery, the rate of transformation, which I would say depends on how the person is even willing to receive the energetic work and the sessions. For her, because she was a young girl, very willing and open, of course initially she was a little hesitant, but because she was very willing to open and was okay with the transformation, it happened very fast. And within 3 months we were weekly sessions, within 3 months we were able to reach towards the and clear, not, it's not only about reaching towards the root causes, it's even just clearing out all the limitations and the barriers
Mhm.
and the subconscious blocks. So within 3 months we were, and it's not only about just clearing them, it was also, then we started integrating it into her daily life so that she does not need to go back to it.
And ideally, how many sessions per week or
Once a
once a
week
week?
is good enough.
Good
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
Okay.
once a week is good enough.
But what if she goes back and takes the substance and comes back to you? How do you judge that? Because in our environment, they are living with us, so nothing is provided, nothing is available to them. So you are living for 3 months, 4 months, but total abstinence. Here she goes back home. So
Yeah.
how do your trust and her trust in you? How does that maintain or survive?
So we typically build the trust with each other, and it's a no judgment zone. Whenever a client comes, it's, see, again, that's why I said it's very important how willing the client is for this, because they're not living with me.
Like that's a must.
Yes, absolutely. But what happens is we build the trust, and it's not necessary that once they start the sessions they immediately leave.
Yes.
It does take time.
Yes.
They will have their gaps, because healing is not something that, okay, now we're done for life. It's a work in progress. There are incidences where, like they say that we have not done it, but they have done it. But that's also okay.
Mhm.
We give them that space, that it's okay if you have taken the substance, it's okay, but we begin now. Everything becomes like then from day one. So we don't make them, I don't make them trap into again to the guilt that, oh, why did you do it? It's
Mm.
more that, okay, I'm here, we start again and we follow through. So it gives them that belief. What happens is, a lot of times people reach that level that they have lost that faith in themselves, that, okay, that this is how my life is and this is how it should be,
They are just
and they are just
accepting the
accepting the
debacle.
way it
Mm.
is. And I don't want to, and numbing themselves becomes easier than living.
Mhm.
So they reach that stage, but once you start pushing them through energies and everything, the emotional and the mental fog also starts clearing up, and then they start adapting.
Okay. You mentioned about inheritance and the layers that you have to unearth or open up for the people to inform you what you need to know. So that brings me, which I also know, we call addiction a family disease. But what does that mean in your field?
So I would like to say that in a family, like, I would definitely term it as a family
Hmm.
disease, because we all don't live in isolation.
Hmm.
We're all living with families, friends, whoever we choose to live with.
Close ones,
Close
loved
ones,
ones.
yeah, close
Hmm.
loved ones.
Hmm.
What happens is, when one person in the family gets into any sort of addiction, it affects the full family environment.
Hmm.
Of course, the one person who is into addiction is deeply into it, but the energetic environment of the family becomes very, very heavy. People in the family, I'll again quote an example, it's easier to talk through examples. Let's say the husband, like it's a nuclear family, father, mother and two kids, and the man of the family is addicted to alcohol. So it's not only that he is suffering, the others are also suffering. Why? Is because what happens is, the whole tension of the house, the environment of the house becomes very heavy. The emotional environment, stress and tension becomes very normal for people over there. Hypervigilance takes place, and people start taking different roles. Like in this case, like the wife would become like the fixer.
Yeah.
She'll feel that, oh, that I'm supposed to now manage his symptoms. She'll go crazy. That's, because that, oh, has he drank too much? What he's so she might not tell him, but
She's
she is
constantly watching.
constantly watching and seeing that, oh my god, I just, and then, like, her nervous system has also got stuck in survival mode, that, I just hope he doesn't drink today,
It's
I just hope he
always,
comes out of it.
yeah, it's always on an alert mode.
Always on an alert mode. Then in such cases, with this man only, like the child, one of the child would become like a people pleaser, thinking, okay, my family is already going through so much, I don't want to add on to it. Other child might just start suppressing their emotions, that that okay, again with the same thought, I don't want to burden my parents, my dad is into it, my mom is going through so much, so it affects the whole family. So when one person is into addiction, it becomes a family disease, and we can actually resort to a family transformation.
Should they come individually or together? Or do you take separate sessions, sometimes together, sometimes individual? How do you manage the whole program?
So it actually depends from case to case. Now, in this case, where say the husband is into deep addiction, so individually the wife can start working on herself, because sometimes what happens is when a person is so much deep into it, they would not want to work on themselves,
They are
and
not ready.
they're not ready, because they don't even, first of all, they are stuck. They don't even realize that there's something needs to change, and they're happy in their space. So when someone is happy and feeling safe in their space, they don't want to come out of it. So the best way in such cases is the codependent should come and they should start taking sessions. And I even would like to point out how it would help, right?
But is the codependent ready because they feel they have not done anything? Why do they need any kind of therapy or energy healing? Though it is awesome if they get that opportunity. I think codependence, like when I was there and I was told to take therapy, it was very difficult for me to accept it. Very, very difficult. And let me also add, when I took the first step to go for the therapy, also it was only to please, only for the environment to get settled or happy or comfortable. But it was not my first choice. So does that also come across to you?
Yes,
The
absolutely.
defense?
Of course, with defense, but still they would still be more willing than the person who is already into the addiction, and it's easier for them, because they can, the way the codependent can see the life, the perspectives and the vision, the person with the addiction cannot see it. So even if they are not willing, they can still give it a try, because that would actually help. So when the person who's codependent, when that person starts taking sessions, what happens is, let's say the house environment is, as I mentioned, very fogged up and deeply dense, and everyone is in the family living there. But when the codependent starts taking session, what that person does, in this case the wife, she starts clearing the energies around her. Now once the energies are, because she's working on herself, she is not working on the husband, she is working on her own personal self, which is the impact the addiction of the husband has created on her.
In any scenario, the work has to be
Self-work,
and then
absolutely.
it percolates to the
Yes,
others
so
or
it
the house
creates a ripple
environment.
effect.
Yes, ripple effect.
Right. So when she's working on herself, energetically the space gets created. Now they all are in the similar environment. And when the space is getting created, automatically the husband can also breathe. Now it becomes the husband's choice. It's like she's inviting the husband. Now it becomes the husband's choice whether he wants to step in at that time or not, but at least the space has opened up for the husband.
Yeah, he'll be surprised watching her. It's not that only the codependents know how the dependents move or watch them.
Absolutely,
They also do the other way around, and they know if there's a shift in the codependent, what has happened, and the intrigue might get them to seek help.
Absolutely. And also what happens is, when the husband is so much into addiction, they cannot hold a vision for themselves. So here also the codependent can help, is they can create a vision for the husband. That's also all done energetically. What I mean by that is, when they start creating the vision, what happens is they start seeing the person beyond the addiction.
Okay.
They are not seeing the
As an
person
individual,
as an
as a human
individual
being,
who
yes.
has a challenge. Otherwise, what happens is, you're constantly living with the person and constantly thinking, oh, he has a challenge. Like, you're energetically emitting those thoughts, even if verbally you're not speaking.
I think somewhere you're trying to say the blame game starts cutting off.
Yes,
like
the
reducing.
blame game cuts off. Also, the judgments cut off.
Judgments, yes.
So, because if, let's say, the husband is constant, the wife will be constantly judging. She'll be judging himself. She'll be judging him. She'll be judging herself, that what have I done wrong? Why has this happened to me? So all those things start reducing. And then the vision she holds, that helps the person come out of it also.
So if anyone or any two people, if any two people also start, and there's a clarity in the energy fields,
Yes,
It clears up the dense,
absolutely.
as you said, the dense atmosphere opens up. So
Yeah,
these are also the areas where the other person who shows interest can also come forth and bring about a change in his or her life.
absolutely.
So it is just clearing the way for the dependent to come
Yes,
forward.
forward
Yeah,
and creating a ripple effect.
ripple
It's like
effect.
creating a ripple effect, and then the person chooses what they want to do.
Okay, lovely. Akriti, I would like to know, what role does awareness play in breaking addiction patterns?
So, awareness is the first step to healing. It opens up possibilities. It's like, when we want to break an egg, we first crack it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So awareness is that crack
Okay.
through which the possibilities start seeping in. And there are multiple ways how we can evoke awareness in people. A lot of people are just living unconsciously. They're just running on survival patterns, programming, and it's not only for the person who's resorting to any sort of substance. It's even the people around them. Most of us are, which is very normal. We all are programmed human beings. We all are conditioned with certain belief systems, so we all are just surviving and living on those. And where when we when we get an awareness of something, that's where the possibilities open up, because that's where our perspective changes. Our reality gets defined by our point of views, by our
Okay.
perspective.
Mhm.
So only when our perspective will change will we start taking actions. And to reach the place of an aligned action, the awareness is the first step. Also, there are different ways how we can evoke awareness. The simplest and the easiest way is that to ask questions. Like in this case, the in this case, the question which we can ask is that, rather than asking how do we stop the addiction, we can ask that what is it that I'm not trying to feel.
What is it that I'm
I'm
not
not
trying
trying to
to
feel.
feel?
What
Okay.
is it that I'm avoiding? Because addiction really gets related to avoidance of a feeling. And the minute we start switching, it's not necessary. Minute we start switching from this, that what do I do to stop the addiction, to what is it that I'm not trying to feel, we might not get answers at that time. So when we talk about awareness, it's not that we ask questions and we get answers,
It's process.
but it's a process. What happens is, it creates the question, creates space. Space creates possibilities, and that's how awareness starts.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Space creates possibility, and the moment gets momentum,
Yes.
and the person can go.
Yes.
But each will have their own pace,
Absolutely.
their own interpretation and understanding. But if they have taken the first step,
First step.
our
Absolutely.
hope as therapists, counselors rises that we can see a great outcome, right? Now, again, it's a question from my field, but I'm asking you, what does true recovery look like beyond quitting addiction?
So that's a wonderful question, Vandana. Thank you. So it's not only about getting off the addiction or getting off the behaviors or the substance. It actually goes beyond that. When I would like to define true recovery
Okay.
as feeling safe in one's body, emotionally feeling stabilized, starting to make choices through clarity and not through confusion. Basically, at the end of it, it is not about becoming a better version of yourself. It is about coming back to your own self. So that is where the true recovery, I feel, feels like, beyond the addiction.
So, in our zone, the words that you've used in layman term, or simply put, a person who has been non productive earlier, has not been able to take himself or herself where he's capable of, where the potential is, becomes productive and is able to lead a healthy life away from the pulls of addiction, and can say no. You
Yeah.
know, the biggest thing I teach children when I go to different colleges and schools, or even adults who are into it for the longest time, is learn to say no.
No.
Not today. I'll handle my emotions as much as I can today. Tomorrow's I don't know, because the program itself is one day at a time.
Absolutely.
Whether it is dependent or codependent, I think this line works for all of us. One day at a time, you can cut it down to 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, or 1 second at a time. So thank you so much, Akriti. This has been really insightful for our viewers, for people out there who are still seeking whether I should do this or whether I should not, whether I should work on myself where substance abuse is concerned. Kindly take that step. help is available. You want to go through the route of healing, you want to go through the route of a center where there are counselors who guide you to come out of it, live 24 by 7, or do sessions with people like Akriti. Wherever you can take help, please take. Please move forward and be happy. Thank you.